Well, welcome back to the Junkman's Adventures. I'm the Junkman, and welcome back to my Tonka truck restoration. Well, if you didn't catch the first video, click over here to watch it first, and you can see what condition this thing started out with and how we took it all apart and how I prepped it to get it to this state. Anyways, where we are now is, as you can see, we got a coat of primer on these. And if you watched the last video, you'll see that I basically almost took it down to bare metal. Because it was pretty rusty and everything. So the first step was to put on a self-etching primer, which I just got and used the rattle can kind for this kind of project. That works just fine. But I needed a self-etching primer because of the bare metal. Self-etching primer kind of etches itself into the metal and gets a good bond here. Then the next step is to sand out any runs if you get any runs in that particular coat. And then the next step is to put on your primer sealer. And this is the primer coat before we put on a color coat. And I've already got some of these parts primered up. Now what I'm going to have to do is go over with maybe a 400 grit sandpaper, just take off some of the overspray and clean up any edges if I got any runs, and just smooth it up so we got a nice smooth base for our color coat. And what I use there is I just rattle can, and I've used this stuff before. Works great for projects like this. And then the color coat, and I'm going to use this. I've used this before on other outdoor projects with no clear coat, which I'll tell about that more when we get to that step of the process. And this is kind of a safety yellow. Other people use Rust-Oleum's Sunburst yellow, or Plastic Coat's 736 bright yellow is another great one. Or I've even heard like Van Sickles safety yellow, which you can use the hardener and make it more like a two-part paint there, and that put a very durable coat. And but that's what I'm going to use here, is this particular, and then I'm going to use an epoxy clear coat, which, like I said, I'll tell more about that. So next step is to get some primer sealer on the dump bed here. Well, we're ready to start putting our color coat on. Now, a few tips about painting, especially using a rattle can, is you want to paint all your underside stuff and all your hard to reach areas first, and then go to the big areas. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to start with the frame and then move on to everything else. But as with anything, use proper safety gear. I am doing this in my garage. I have well ventilated area, but since I'm going to be near the fumes, I'm using a filter mask. And don't use just one of those cheap dust masks, because those don't filter out the chemicals. These have a charcoal kind of element in them, and they're for chemical applications and everything. So make sure you use the proper safety gear when you're doing all this. Well, as you can see here, we got everything painted up with the yellow, and it's drying right now, just letting it flash off. And I told you earlier what I was going to use for the clear coat, and this is what it is. It's Spray Max 2K High Gloss Clear. It's a two-part paint. There's a chamber inside this can, and using this red cap, and there's a little plunger on the bottom. You pierce it, and then you mix the two together, and this gets you darn close to an automotive style spray-on clear coat. I mean, not quite, but the closest you're going to get out of the rattle can. And I've used this stuff before for projects of similar nature where I needed a very tough, high gloss coating over something. And so I've tried this out, and it's very scratch resistant. It's fuel resistant, which that's not going to matter here. But this is mostly just to add some more UV protection and scuff and scratch protection, because I hope that this is going to be used and played with a lot, and this will just help keep it looking better for longer, and especially if it's going to get left outside sometime, as it inevitably will. But this stuff is pretty nasty stuff, so you definitely want to use your safety equipment, respirator, and definitely be doing this in a very well ventilated area. So I'm going to spray the clear on this, and after that, and after it fully dries and cures, which takes about 24 hours on this, then we can start reassembling it and putting it back together, and then we'll put the decals on. Well, here it is. Here's the finished product. Put it all back together just in the reverse that we took it apart, except for the areas where we riveted it, where it was riveted. I just put it back as just bolts, and in this case I used some black on the bumper, black cap screws, cap screws, so they obviously kind of blend in. And where the dump box pivots are just some Allen head, kind of some pan head type screws with nylock lock washers, so they'll never come apart. Another thing I did is the business end of this little toy here, the dump box. I coated this with a relatively new product. It's by Duplicolor, a truck bed coating, but it's a clear truck bed coating. It comes in an aerosol like this. Also comes in larger quantities if you want to do a real truck bed, but I mean this is more than enough for what we're doing here. And it puts a little bit of texture, so there's something, you know, for little hands to grip, but also for when you're going to put dirt and rocks and everything like this is going to see, it'll help protect the finish at least a little bit more, make it a little impact resistant, and keep it from chipping. And what I did is I taped off the box along here, and so even on these top rails has the truck bed coating, the clear truck bed coating. It's hard to see on camera, but it's kind of a rough textured, like you'd think a spray-on liner would be somewhat, and that should help protect it and you know, keep it looking better a little bit longer. But like I said, it's going to get scratched up, it's going to get played with a lot. Just cleaned up the wheels, plastic, and did the white on the raised letters, put the wheel caps back on, and something I did is you may notice here the wheels are not as wobbly or as loose. Well, I took some nylon bushings, and I only had to drill the centers out just a tiny little bit to fit them, and they kind of pressed in there, and they fit over the axle, so they took out all the slop that was in there. So it really rolls really easy, really nice, and doesn't wobble around. And like I said, the dump bed works. I put here, this is a rubberized truck bed coating. It's kind of a little bit of a bumper, or sort of. I might put something else just as kind of a protector, not that it needs it, but just a little bit to keep it from banging when the dump back goes on. Oh, the other thing you see is the windshield. I opted not to get a reproduction windshield just because it was hard to find, and mine wasn't cracked or anything, but it was just terribly oranged or yellowed, and you saw that in the first video. So I just spray painted it black, put a bunch of coats inside and out. So and honestly, I don't think it looks too bad. I mean, it's not stock, but like I said, it's not the point here. A guy on eBay, if you search, you know, Tonka reproduction decals, you'll find the guy, and that's where I got these, because this is all the decals this particular model had. But he makes them for a lot of different Tonka vehicles. They're water slide decals, so just dip them in water for about 10 to 30 seconds. Releases them, put it on there, let it dry overnight. I opted to put them over the clear coat because I wasn't sure if that two-part clear that we put on it would eat into these graphics. So, I mean, yeah, if they wear off, you know, I can get more. They're relatively inexpensive for what they are. So anyway, that's it. It's completely done, and you know, got a few years, but it's ready to be played with. So for the time being, it's gonna get displayed until my little guy is old enough to play with it, and then it's ready for the dirt. So anyway, I hope you like this little two-part project of this kind of unique little restoration here. It's not really that hard, so you know, if you got your old Tonka truck, you want to find an old one on eBay or a garage sale or something, you know, taking it apart and refinishing it and making it look like new is not that hard. So, you know, like the Facebook page, check me out on Twitter, of course, subscribe if you aren't already, and to all my subscribers out there, thank you for subscribing and all the future ones. So, I hope you like this. Check back often for more videos like this and others. And I guess thanks for watching.